Hello everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to be doing a crochet tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make this Ruana or however you say it. So there's not a lot of room here for me to show you on my desk, but you did see the pictures of it. Now, it's actually extremely easy to make. Now you can leave the fur off if you want, of course. Here's the neck area. No one has to put fur on it. You can leave that off, and when the time comes, I do tell you other options that you can do instead. Also, you could sew up the sides if you want, and I do mention that, how that could be done, and that way, you know, and leave a little sleeve hole. Otherwise, I think it's pretty dang cool, and I absolutely love the colors. Like I said, sorry there's not a lot of room here to show you, but you know, the picture's there. Here's the back, and all it is 2 large panels seamed together, and then I added fur. It's super simple, and you can adjust the size and the length to any, or the size is actually one size fits pretty much anybody. If you want to adjust the length, that's perfectly fine. Now you see me wearing it there. I am 5'3", and you've seen how long it went down on me, so you can adjust your length accordingly. And I'll tell you the stitch multiple that I used. And when you adjust your length, it's 2 long panels. So remember that we start with one big long chain, and that is the length. That would be the part that you would adjust if you want it shorter or longer than the one that I'm wearing. It starts at the front of my knees, you see, goes all the way up over my shoulders and all the way to the back below my knees. That's the starting chain. So if you want it shorter than that, you would just make it shorter in the multiple given of the stitch. All right. But other than that, the panels without the fur on it, they measure approximately 68 long and about 22 wide. With the fur, they measure about 70, 71 long and about 25, 26 across with the fur. Now you want to keep, you can make the width of the panels shorter too if you don't want them to go so far down on your arms. But anyways, you get the gist. It's very easy to adjust. This is one side fits most. So why don't we go ahead and begin. All right, for this project, Premier Puzzle is what was used. It's 100% acrylic yarn. It is classified as a bulky weight number 5. So there you go. You could use a bulky 5 or a thicker 4 weight. Like I said, though, I will give you the multiple to stitch, and I did just give you the dimension of the project. So if you wanted to use, and I'll put all that information below in the description box as well. So if you wanted to use a smaller weight yarn, you would just need the chain and the multiple that I give to your desired, you know, length that you want your panel to be. Now remember, the length of the starting chain is what you see in the front of, down by below my knees, all the way over my shoulders, back to the back side of me, all the way down. So it just, like I said, it's 2 panels, and they're sewn together at the back, and then at the front they're not. So, and then it is to go over your shoulders. Anyways, the color I used is called Anagram. And for this particular yarn, there's 328 yards, and 7 balls were used. There was not, I mean, like almost all of 7. There wasn't very much left after sewing it up. So if you know, that's what I used. All right. Then the fur let you see in case you want to add it. Remember, you don't have to do that. Definitely not necessary, but it was Premier bunny yarn, 87 yards per ball. It's classified as a jumbo number 7. I did buy this at premier.com. The color is called chocolate, and I used 1.5 balls, so this is my second ball, to go all the way around it one time. If you want to make it thicker, of course you're going to need more balls than that, probably 3 balls if you want to go around it twice, but yes, that is what I use. Hook size, you want to use, for the main part, we're going to be using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. And then for the fur, we're going to jump that up to a N, which is a 9mm, and some N's are 10mm. Either one of those will work. So we can go ahead and get started. So for the, remember, you need to make 2 panels the exact same, and then we sew them up. Remember, I did give you the dimensions. Look for those in the description box as well. You want to follow along with me with the yarn that I'm using, or one equivalent to a bulky 5. Alright, so this stitch, I'm going to show you on a smaller scale with a different yarn. Sometimes this yarn's a little hard to see working with it. So this particular stitch is done in a multiple of 4 plus 2. So if you're going to follow along with me, you want to start out with a chain of 166 stitches. 166. If you, now remember, that is the length, that's the big long chain that you start with. This is the chain that you would adjust if you want to make it smaller, or not as long as mine is. Like mine's going below my knees all the way to the back of my shoulder to back behind me below my knees. If you want to make it shorter, you adjust the chain length now in a multiple of 4 plus 2. What that means is you just chain in multiples of 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, till you get to your desired length, and then you add 2 more to your base chain. So, but following along with me, 166 stitches is what you need. So you go ahead and start a slip knot on your hook. Now we're going to go ahead and start row 1 by doing a single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. So we never count the one that's on our hook. 1, 2, second one over, and do a single crochet. And then I'm going to work across my chain, and I'm going to put 1 single crochet into every single stitch of the chain, just like this. So row 1 is 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get to the end of your row, just like that. All right, so once you make it to the end of row 1, we'll go ahead and start row 2. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. It doesn't count as anything, so we can just pretend like it's not even there. And we're going to work right back into this very first stitch here, this very first one, and we're going to put 3 double crochets into that very first stitch. So there's 1, 2, and there's 3. Now we're going to start the repeat of row 2. We are going to skip 3 stitches. So skip, skip, skip. And in the next one, we are going to single crochet. Like that. And then we're going to work a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go back into that stitch, same one that we single crocheted into, and work 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So in that same stitch, we worked a single crochet, a chain 3, and 3 doubles. And now we're going to repeat that. So we're going to skip 3 stitches again, skip, skip, skip. And in the next one, we're going to put a single crochet, a chain of 3, back into the same stitch. As that single crochet, we work 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And we repeat it again. Skip 3, skip, 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 and in the next one, we single crochet, a chain of 3, back into the same stitch. As that single crochet, we work 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And we repeat it again. Skip 3, skip, 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 and in the next one, we single crochet. 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And we repeat it again. Skip 3, skip, 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 and in the next one, we single crochet. chain 3, 1, 2, 3, go back into the same stitch as the single and work 3 doubles. So this is what we're going to repeat until we get to the last 4 stitches of our row. Skip 3, skip, 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 and then we'll do a single, chain 3 and 3 doubles back into that same stitch. Remember, until you get to the last 4 stitches of your row. All right, so I've made it here and I have 4 stitches that remain. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to skip 3, skip, 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 and then the last one, I'm just going to end by putting a single crochet into the last stitch, and that will end row 2. That's what it looks like so far. Now we're going to start row 3, and row 3 is the repeat row. So row 3 is the one that you're just going to keep repeating back and forth, back and forth. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work. And again, that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to go back into this very first stitch, that single crochet from the previous row, and we're going to work 3 double crochets into it. So there's 1, 2, and there's 3. And now we're going to start the repeat of row 3. We are going to we're going to skip these 2 double crochets here, and this last double crochet of the group of 3, we're going to do a front post single crochet around this stitch. So what we're going to do, remember, you skip these 2, skip, skip, and this double crochet before the chain. Instead of going into the top of it, we go around the post of it like that, and then we just single crochet. That's what gives it the look where the stitches are popping out. And now what we're going to do is chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then this chain space here from the previous row, we're going to work 3 double crochets through it. So we're going to yarn over and just right through the space work 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and there's 3, just like that. And now that is what we're going to repeat. So we're going to come over here to the last double crochet before our chain space right here, and we're going to do we just skip all this right here, this last double crochet before this chain space. We do our front post single crochet. So instead of going into the top, you go around the post of it and single crochet like that. And then we're going to chain 3 and then back into this chain space right here. It's kind of behind now. We do 3 double crochets. Just like that. Now we're going to repeat that again. So we skip all this and the last double crochet before you see the chains, get to the chain space, do a front post single crochet. So go right around the post of that last double crochet there and single crochet and chain 3, and then the chain 3 right here, which kind of got put in the back after you did that front post single crochet. We work 3 double crochets through the chain. So there's 1, 2, and there's 3. And we're going to repeat this pattern until we get to the end of our row. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 3, and I just did 3 double crochets into my last chain space. What I'm going to do now is end by putting a single crochet into the very last stitch, just like that, and that will end row 3, and that is the repeat row. So you just keep repeating row 3 back and forth, back and forth. So you chain 1 and turn. I'm just going to repeat what I did on row 3. I work 3 double crochets back into the very first stitch. And now I'm going to put a front post single crochet around the last double crochet here that's next to the chain space. Front post single. Then I'm going to chain 3. And then the chain space here that kind of got pushed to the back, we're going to work 3 double crochets right through that space. So we're just repeating what we did on row 3. Again, find your last double crochet that's next to the next chain space and do a front post single crochet right around it. Like that. Chain 3. And then this chain space back here, 3 doubles right into the chain space. So I'm just repeating what I did on row 3. All right, so then you want to just continue that until you reach approximately 22 inches. So you want your piece to measure, if, like I mentioned, if you're following along with me, you want it to measure approximately 68, 70 inches long and about 22, 23 inches wide. And you want to do 2 panels the exact same, all right? The exact same. So however many rows you have in your first panel, make sure you do the exact same number of rows in your second panel. Doesn't matter how many rows I have, just make sure that you do the amount of inches that I do, or if you don't want it so long on your arms, you can do less rows on the panels when you're doing the back and forth. All right, now let's go ahead and sew it up. All right, so you got your 2 pieces made, and I have them laying on top of each other actually. So this is kind of how you want to lay them out. The best way I can explain it is you want to we're going to be sewing them together here, not all the way up though, you know, just the back part. So the best way I can explain for you to lay them out is this is the end row of one panel, right up here at the top, and this is the beginning row of the other panel. So make the beginning row of one panel on the bottom and the end row tail, I'm talking about the tail, the beginning row tail at the bottom, on the bottom panel on the left side. In the top panel here, the one you lay on top, make it, this is the last row, this is the tail from the last row, make it on the right. And as you can see, both these rows here, the end rows, are facing this direction, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna seam it up. Now you can seam it up any way you want. You can use a yarn needle and a piece of yarn, and or you can use a crochet hook in yarn. You could slip stitch it together. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and get my needle, or my hook, I'm sorry. I apologize, I have to show you out here because I don't have a lot of room inside. So my pieces are laying on top of each other, right? Like I said, remember, on your bottom should be the panel, the tail of the panel should be, this is the starting row. This is the tail from the bottom where we first started, the first row. And the top panel laying on top of that, this is the tail or the end of the panel that's on top, the final row. All right. Now what I'm going to do is kind of line them up here. And I'm going to slip stitch mine together. Remember, you can do it, sew it, or whatever. I probably would generally sew it, but I think this time I'm just going to slip stitch it. And what you do is just grab a piece on the corner. And since I'm putting fur on mine, doesn't have to be exact here at the bottom, and grab a piece on the bottom, pull your yarn through, and then I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm just going to go across and slip stitch this back up. Go through a piece on this side and try to get the matching stitch on the opposite side if you can. Just kind of stitch it up as clean as possible. Now remember, you can do this with a yarn needle and a piece of yarn. Generally that is what I usually sew things up with, but I just happen to have a hook here, so I'm just going to do it this way. I'm sorry for hitting the camera. Very awkward position for me. So we're just slip stitching these 2 panels together, and I'm going to go up, trying to match in my stitches as best as possible. Remember, this is the back. This will be the back part of your piece. So and I'm going to do this up for a little ways, and I'm going to, whenever I get up to the, I'm not going all the way to the top, but I'm going to go up a little ways, and when I get back, I'll tell you how many inches that you need to go up. I'm not quite certain yet. That's why I'm not telling you, but I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch up probably close to halfway, but I'll let you know how many inches that I did slip stitch up here in just 1 second. All right, so I slip stitched up, so the whole piece is 68 inches long. I slip stitched up up to 30 inches of it. So you can see right here, here's the end of my slip stitch, right here. So 30 inches is back, and then 38 inches left in the front open. Now, if you're doing yours bigger, longer, or shorter, just what I had to do is I had to try it on like 4 or 5 times. And all I did was make when I tried it on, made the front panels in line with the back panels once it was around my neck. That's what I did. But you don't have to do that either, because I've seen Ruanas where like the back was longer than the front, and those look really cool. You know, it's completely up to you. Whatever you do there, how far you want to sew it up. But I just told you, excuse me, how far I did mine. So now we're going to put the right side facing out. So now the slip stitch is your back. The slip stitch is on the inside. And then right here is the neck opening. Now. You can be done if you want. If you want to be done, you can be done. I'm going to tell you some things that you can do though. Now, I'm going to be putting fur on mine, and I'm going to be purring a lot. So I'm going to be furring, and I'll show you how to do that here in a minute when I start, in case you want to do it. But I'm going to go all around the back bottom, all around the side, all the way up the side here. Whew, thing's big. And then, here, let me move this. And then down the front panel, up and around the neck, and then back down the front, and then up this side panel, all the way back to the back where I started. That's what I'm going to do. Now, you don't have to do that. You can leave it the way it is. No fur. And you can be done if you want right now. Now, here's some other options that you can do. If you are someone that likes to have super clean edges like me, like if I was not going to put fur on this, I would definitely clean up my edges with single crochet. So what I would do is I would go around here with a row or 2 of single crochet around the bottom, and then I would end here, and these I would leave the way they were. That's just something I would do, you know, because I think it looks nice there. Although I'm going to be covering mine in fur, I still think it looks nice. And then I would go around this side the same with a row or 2 of single crochet, probably working through your 3 to 4 single crochets in each of these corners to make them lay flat, and then to that side. And that's an option you can do as well. If you're not doing fur, if I wasn't going to do fur, that's what I would do. And then I would also go around the back with a row of single crochet to clean up the back. You don't have to. I'm just saying that's probably what I would do. And again, leaving the sides open chains, like I said. Let's see. Now, also what you can do, I'm going to set my camera down here. And once again, I do apologize for having to show you out here. I just have no room in there in my in there. So, another thing you can do, so this is kind of what it looks like when it's all sewn up, or sewn up here. You know, it's big and it's long and okay. Another thing you can do if you're not going to be doing fur is you can sew up the sides. Or you can do fur and still sew up the sides. But another thing you can do is you can line up the sides here and you can sew them up and leave an arm opening. Like, you know, 7 inches or so, 8 inches for a nice loose arm opening on both sides. And then this side will be sewn shut. Now, traditionally, Ruanas, I do believe, are not sewn shut, but this can be whatever you want, you know, whatever you want it to be. I'm just trying to make a Ruana, so I won't be sewing mine shut. Like I said, I'm furring mine up. So, and yeah, that's another thing that you can do. And if you do sew it shut, you can, and you want to add fur, you can still do that. What you would do is sewing it shut, just neatly slip stitch these together. Make them line up though, of course. You want to make sure they all line up accordingly. And then slip stitch it up the side, like I said, till you got about, I'd probably leave 8 inches, so, because this thing's pretty baggy, you know. You want to have a little baggy opening for the sleeve. That is if you sew up the sides. Remember, my sides are not going to be sewn up. And then you could attach fur down the sides and around the bottom and the back if you want. If not, leave it plain. It is your piece, not mine. So you do it how you want. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the fur, so I'm furring mine up. So this is just the main, you know, this is it pretty much, other than the fur, which I can show you how to add if that's what you want to do. If not, I told you the options that, other options that you could do. So if you're done with yours, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Show me a picture on my Facebook page. Now, if you want to see how to add fur, let's go into the other room now, to where I normally do my tutorials. Since this has been, it's smaller now, it's not quite as big, I think I can work with it better up there. Okay, to add the fur, so I got my piece folded in half, and I have the right side facing me. As you can see, the seam of my slip stitch is on the inside. Alright, so I have the right side of my work facing me, and this is the back. Like the bottom, that would be in the back. I'm just going to start here at the corner here and work my way up the side first. Now fur, if I mentioned before, a lot of people are intimidated by it, but you don't have to be, because it's very, very forgiving. So what you want to do is grab your size in, which is a 9mm, or sometimes it's a 10mm. And we'll just start in the corner here, and we're going to pull that fur through, and we're going to chain 1. Now I'm going to go back into that same spot and do a double crochet. Now this is the part that is actually like extremely forgiving. We're going to evenly do our best to space out double crochets all the way up the side, and it doesn't have to be exact because fur is so forgiving, but I can kind of show you what I'm going to do. Since we're working on the side and there's these chains here, I think I'll put a double crochet. There's 3 double crochets here. I think I'll put just one like in between either one of these spots here, in between. I'm not going into the top. I'm going to put a double crochet there. And then I'm going to put a double crochet in the chain space like that, and then again, let's see what we got here. Then I'm going to put a double crochet into this spot here, and it doesn't have to be exactly like mine, it just, you know. And then right here where these 3 doubles are, just in between one of these 2 spots, just do the best you can to evenly space it out. And then into the chain space I will go with a double crochet, and then into this spot right here I will go with a double crochet, and this is what I'm going to do. And as you can see, fur is extremely forgiving. You can't even see where you put your stitches at all. That's why I like, well, I like fur because I like the look of it. I think it's super cool. But I also like it because it's super forgiving. You can make snakes and no one even know it. And that's good. So I'm going to continue just kind of trying to evenly space out double crochets. Now I'm working up the side right now. And remember, we got the right side of our work facing us. And you don't have to put the double crochets in the exact same spot as me. Just evenly space them out the best that you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not gonna be. And that's what makes it so special. So don't you worry about that. And this is only if you're adding fur, remember. Not everybody's going to do that. So, I will continue this pattern, or evenly spacing out doubles, all the way up the side, the back, from the back, all the way up to the front side. And right here is my front side. So I will continue all the way up to here. And then when I get to here, I'll be back up with you when we get down here at the end of the side before we go across the front and before we start working on the neck, all right? Because we're going to do just a little something different in the corners to make them kind of round out a little bit better, all right? All right, so I made it down here to the bottom. This is the front now, across the front here, before we start going up the up towards the neck. I'm going to this corner right here. I'm just going to go into like in between the stitches. So the last corner, I'm going to put 3 double crochets there. 1, 2, and 3. Just kind of round the corner out a bit, and I'm going to continue across this is the front now, the bottom of the front panel. Continue across, and I'm just going to evenly space out double crochets. It's the best that you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. I kind of show you where I'm putting mine. I'm putting mine kind of like in the space here, either here or here. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So no one can see it because the fur is this. It's your best friend. And then like kind of in between a stitch here, maybe like that. See, what I found is fur is fantastic. It's like your best friend that wants to help you like make your project look perfect. Because all the floofies hide anything. Like if you missed a spot or something, those little floofs are gonna hide it. No one's gonna know. So I'm going to do this all the way across the bottom until I get to my next corner. Nice. I like it. Alright, so I've made it to the corner of my front panel here. And in the corner stitch here, I'm going to put 3 double crochets of fur or somewhere near the corner. Doesn't have to be in that exact stitch, just somewhere around the corner. 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and there is 3. Okay, now we're working up the front of our panel that leads up to the neck. So again, we're just going to work in evenly spaced out double crochets wherever you think is a good spot to put them, just so they're kind of evenly spaced out. There's really no like right spot to put them, just, you know, evenly spacing them out, doing the best you can. we're going to do this all the way up and around the neck hole, or around the, yeah, the neck, back of the neck. So remember, we're working up the front of the piece right now. And I'm just putting these double crochets just like anywhere, you know. There's no special spot. Nothing special. There's no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting them. I'm just putting them where they look good. Leaving a little space in between them because the fur is pretty floofed out. You don't want to get them extremely close so it doesn't ball up on you, but all right. And this is pretty much what I'm gonna do like the rest of the way around, like so I make it back to my starting point. So let me go ahead and stop and show you what we're gonna do the rest of the way, which is this. So maybe back here. It's just so dang big. All right, so this is the front panel. We are working up the side right now. Or we are working up the front to where the open part is of the front of the piece, all right? And you go all the way up, and right here is the V that goes around the back of your neck, and you just continue putting fur around that the same way. And then you'll go back down the other side of the front, which is right here. And then when you get down here to the bottom, this is the other bottom panel of the front. You'll put your 3 doubles into this corner, and you work evenly spaced out double crochets along the bottom, just like we just did along the other bottom front panel. And then when you get to here, you want to put 3 double crochets somewhere around in the corner. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, no one's going to see it anyways. I mean, you can't tell where you put the fur anyways. And then we'll be working up our long side again, just like we did on the other side. So, you know, I kind of put one here, and then one in between one of those spaces, one here, and repeated that, one in between one of those spaces. Do that all the way up the front panel, all the way until you make it to the back panel down here. Now this is the back side of your work. 3 doubles in the back corner, and then you work all the way across the back. Now remember, the back 2 panels are seamed up. The front 2 are not. So when you go across the back, you just evenly space out your double crochets, and here's the seam right here. If you flip it inside out, you can see the seam right there, but this is the right side. Go across that seam all the way across the other side of the panel, and then we will be back to where we started, and that's where I'll meet back up with you. Okay, we started actually with 1 double crochet here. We'll go ahead, and when we get to this spot, we'll just go ahead and put 2 more double crochets there. That way we'll have 3 in that corner. But just continue that process of just furring it up until you make it back to your starting point, and I'll see you there in a second. All right, so when you make it back around, as I mentioned, I went ahead and put 2 more double crochets of fur right here, in the same spot that we put the first one, or somewhere close to it. And then I went ahead and tied off, because I think that is enough fur. If you want to do another row of fur to make it thicker, you can, but I don't want it extremely thick to take away from the pretty stitches either. So I think this is probably enough for me. But remember, if you're doing fur, you can always go around again. Now, you just want to go ahead and by slip stitching, just like in the top of your first stitch, or in between your first and your last stitch, or first and second stitch, somewhere like that. Like I said, fur, you ain't gonna be able to tell anyways. And then clip it off, and then to hide the tail with this type of yarn, all I do is go in between the stitches and pull the tail, and then go in between the stitches on the other side. I weave it in like this, and then pull the tail through, and I do that a few times until I feel like it's, you know, okay. And then after this, you can hide all your remaining tails, and you are finished. That's all there is to it. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. You do come show me a picture on Facebook, whether you made it with fur or without fur, closed up the sides, or whatever you did. I'd really like to see how you made this your own, or if you made it just like me, I'd love to see it still. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button, and leave me a comment below. There we go. I am finished. I'll see you guys on our next video. Bye, guys.